Reporter Holland Reed, a friend of the show, she tweeted this to her 48,000 followers this morning. She's joining us now. All right, this is what you tweeted, Holland. Hashtag social media and a gutsy comedian gave these women the support and courage to yell fire again. It's a different world, Mr. Cosby. Hashtag Bill Cosby.
There it is.
And here you are,
yeah,
Holland, bringing it to us. Why'd you tweet that out?
Because, you know, it is a different world. And, of course, you know, a pun on one of his shows, a little spin on one of his shows that he was a producer of. We are in social media age where people are going to get support, whereas back when some of these women, when this happened, did not have outlets. It was very easy to suppress anything that they were going to be accused of. Now you have somebody in the mainstream media that likewise would have never even been retweeted or followed. This is this comedian now bringing it back to light, allowing these women who, wow, not just me, I'm not the only one, are able to now share their stories and go, right, hey, it happened to me too, all allegedly, of course. But if it is true, you know, it's a tragedy all around. But social media is directly responsible for bringing this back to light.
Absolutely. All right, Chuck Nice from New York is joining us. You're a comedian, Chuck. Thanks for joining us, Chuck.
It's a pleasure.
Now, before we talk more about this, I want to actually read Bill Cosby's statement that he recently released. So this is what he said. Over the last several weeks, decade-old discredited allegations against Mr. Cosby have resurfaced. The fact that they are being repeated does not make them true. Mr. Cosby does not intend to dignify these allegations with any comment. He would like to thank all his fans for the outpouring of support and assume them that at age 77, he's doing his best work. There will be no further statement from Mr. Cosby or any of his representatives. And, of course, that was from Bill Cosby's legal team. Chuck Nice, you know, Holland Reed actually tweeted out something else earlier, and she talked about in 1969, Bill Cosby joked about drugging women with hallucinogenics, I think. And, you know, does a comedian, is there ever too far for a comedian, Chuck?
Well, first of all, that's not too far. I mean, it's a joke. And if you ever heard the bit, it's not about drugging women with hallucinogenics. It's about the fascination that young men at that time had with Spanish fly. And it's actually a very funny bit. And it's a real stretch, like a very difficult yoga position type stretch, to say that because a comedian jokes about something, that he is indeed guilty of committing that particular act. I do a joke in my act about how I hate my children. Now, is that true? Maybe a little bit, maybe just a little bit. Actually, no, it's not true at all. I love my children. I would die for my children. But it's funny, and so that's why I talk, because people sometimes feel like they hate their children.
Right.
So what I do is I take this premise and I take it to its illogical, aggrandized conclusion, and that's where the funny is. So, yes, 1969 was probably a very bad year to have a drink with Bill Cosby. But just because he makes jokes about Spanish fly doesn't make it so.
Right, absolutely. But, Chuck, you can understand why people are bringing that to light now, considering the allegations that are coming back out. And Holland's sitting here shaking her head.
I'm like chomping at the bit right now. You know, it's not, this was, Spanish fly is a jug. It's an aphrodisiac, which is usually, back in the day, was given to women to get them in the mood. It was given to women with alcohol to hopefully get them going, to rev up enough to get with whoever is giving them the drug. This is not like some making fun or light of, oh, he was just making fun.
That's not what the joke is about.
The joke, I listened to the bit. I listened to the entire bit.
Then guess what?
No,
That's
I
not
listened
what
to
the joke is about.
The bit was his about fascination.
You're talking over each other. Let Holland finish, and then I'm going to come to Chuck.
Absolutely no. The bit was about his fascination and excitement about finding the drug and using the drug.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't.
All right, Chuck, go ahead.
You know what you're being? You're being like most people who hear a joke, affix literal meaning to the joke instead of interpolating exactly the information that isn't there. That's what people do when they listen to a joke. The joke is not about drugging women. It's about young men's fascination with this thing that supposedly makes women horny and how they lie about it to each other. Chuck, that's what it's about, how young men lie to each other about their sexual prowess. That's what the joke is really about.
I'm completely
I want to move on from this. But, Chuck, you're a comedian, right? Is Bill Cosby's, either way, guilty or not guilty, is his reputation marred? is his career mark.
Without a doubt, Bill Cosby's legacy is absolutely destroyed, irrespective of his guilt or innocence. Quite frankly, when you have corroborating stories that line up from different people, you know, there seems to be that you have a drink or a glass of wine with Bill Cosby and you wake up without any clothes on. So listen, if that's the case, I don't care who you are, something went down and it's not cool. Can we say that he's guilty? No, there's been no trial. There's been no judgment. However, his legacy is marred because of these allegations from multiple people. If it were one allegation from one person, then perhaps we have a misunderstanding or someone's lying, maybe. When you have multiple allegations and they all line up the same way, you got a problem.
Right.
Now Holland, saying these allegations are old and discredited, it isn't the same thing as denying them, though.
No, absolutely not. Just because it's old doesn't make it less true. Just because people didn't believe it then does not make it like not happen, that it didn't happen. It just means that they didn't believe them then, they're old, statute of limitations is now in full effect, and he can't be prosecuted unless somebody comes forward that, you know, and it's happened in the time frame where he can then, you know, be held accountable in the court of law.
Right.
So it doesn't mean that they're not true just because it's old. It just means that people didn't believe them then, and here we are now talking about it.
All right, Holland Reed, Chuck Nice, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
It's a pleasure.
We'll be right back.